Hi everyone, Michelle Ford here, SLR Lounge Senior Editor. Today we're talking about the Kenko Macro Extension Tubes. So let's say you've got a 50mm prime lens and you want to shoot a person who's about 10 feet away from you. If you want to fill the frame with a subject's face, you would physically have to move closer to them. And if your subject was something small, like say a ring, you would find that you probably can't come in close enough to fill that frame. That's because each lens has what's called a minimum focusing distance. In the case of my 50, that's a little under half a meter, which is nowhere close to letting me fill the frame with something small like a ring. So typically for those kinds of shots, I would bring out a macro lens. Unfortunately, macro lenses can be rather expensive. Now, macro extension tubes are my affordable alternative to macro lenses. In a nutshell, it's a tool you can use to convert almost any lens in your arsenal into a close-up or macro lens. So here's how it works. First off, it's a barrel. It goes between the camera body and the lens. And by putting a distance between the lens and the camera sensor, you're sort of granting the lens permission to focus in closer to your subject. So the bigger the distance between the lens and the camera, the closer you get to your object, the more you fill your frame. What I have here are the Kenko Macro Extension Tubes. They're sold as a set. It comes in 3 different lengths, 12mm, 20, and 36mm. The barrels themselves have no optics. It's a good thing. It's literally hollow. It means the quality of your glass on your existing lens isn't diminished. Each piece has contact points on each side, and they're manufacturer specific. They make these for Canon, Nikon, and Sony. With the contact points in place, the communication between the lens and the camera is maintained, so your metering functions and your autofocus functions, they all still work. So I can take any one of these barrels, put it between my camera and lens, and that turns my 50mm into a close-up lens. Just like this. Kind of cool, right? It gets better. Again, the larger the distance between the lens and the camera sensor, the greater the magnification. So I can actually stack these up, 2 or all 3 if I want to create a bigger distance between my lens and my camera. All I need to do is figure out how much I want to fill my frame. Now, one word of caution. Creating distance between the back of the lens and the camera sensor might mean some light loss, so you have to make sure that your object is pretty well lit. Behind this technology is, of course, some math, some science, lots of geeky stuff, and I really didn't want anybody running for the hills, but we have to talk about it a little bit. So I'm sure one of the questions you'll be asking is, what's the best lens combination to use and why? Based on what we've already covered, it should be clear that magnification is controlled by 2 lens properties: focal length and focusing distance. Canon has the 100 macro lens. It's got a 1:1 magnification ratio, and I wanted to figure out for myself what lens extension tube combination I could use to replicate that kind of magnification. So I took one for the team. I found a website. It's got a relatively simple magnification calculator. It lets me plug in a few things like my focal length, my minimum focusing distance, which I looked up on my manufacturer's website, and what extension tube length I wanted to use. So for all my fellow geeks out there, I am including that link in the write-up so you can check out your own gear's numbers. Now, for those of you that want the short answer, and I know you're out there, I took the time to chart my own numbers for my own set of lenses, and I've got quite a few, so hopefully you can find your stuff in there. But the short answer I found, based on the formula, the 50mm lens I have, plus the 12 and the 36 stacked together, gets me the closest to a 1:1 magnification. Biggest difference, the 100 macro from Canon has a 0.3 minimum focusing distance, and my Kenko combo has a 0.2 minimum focusing distance. The Kenko lens set runs about $199 for the 3 tubes. That's the 12, the 20, and the 36 all together. It's a very affordable alternative to buying a macro lens. I've been using it for over a year with my 50, and I've been so pleased with it. In fact, I decided to sell my macro lens because I really only use it for ring shots at weddings. It's been easy to use. I haven't had any problems with the lens or the camera function. The barrels themselves have a locking mechanism for the lens to latch onto, and they've been really sturdy. I've even heard of people using these tubes with zoom lenses, and from what I've gathered, they've had some really great results as well. If there's one thing I could ask for on these, is that I wish I could transition between macro mode and regular mode the way I would with a 100. Unfortunately, with these, I'm stuck in macro mode when they're attached to my camera. Other than that, everything else about it is great. So I'm thinking that I would give this a 4 out of 5 stars. That's it. I hope you guys found that helpful, and hopefully you can try it out and really love it just as much as I do. Till next time, this is Michelle Ford for SLR Lounge. Out.